886, 8,700 followers right now, which is pretty good, you know, for starting out. But tell me, well, only because you look at some of the people who have millions, it's ridiculous. But some of the people you follow are other players. So is that just out of curiosity? Is it just is it a way just to kind of keep up with what they're doing, or is just you kind of see what you want to see what they're tweeting?
A little bit of everything. I think hockey's a very small community. You know, most of the guys I follow, you know, I've played with in a circle here, whether it was juniors or all-star games or you know, minor leagues or anything like that. So you know, when I notice those guys are following me and they comment on something, I'll go to their page and follow. And I think it's just you know, a code, I guess. You know, one hockey player follows another, and it gives support, and it branches out and it has a ripple effect. So, you know, Danny Savret, who I never even knew had one until he posted today on my page, I immediately turned around and followed. I think it's just ultimately about growing the game and you know, growing the following.
And I also noticed that one of the people you're following is Chelsea Handler. Now that she has like a couple million. So what's up with that? What's the?
I don't want to say how, but I got turned on to Chelsea lately last year, and I thought she was hilarious, and haven't read her books, and I don't think I ever will. But I think her posts are funny, and I'm also following Ashley Green. So if anybody knows her, you know, hook me up. You know, most hockey players and actresses, I think, are pretty much all I follow.
See, Bobby's really a shy guy. All right, so we're going to open up to questions before Bobby will sign some autographs for you. First, I want to just give you guys a chance to ask a couple of questions if anybody is interested. Do we have another mic? I go with my microphone. Is that how we want to do this?
So now that you have a bigger paycheck, will they stop calling you Silver?
I think that one is gonna stick. It never started within the locker room until we did shoot that, and you know what, Getsy decided he liked it before it ever aired, and it, you know, it was already summertime, but I was getting texts from the guys calling me Silver, and then it finally aired, and it just kind of took off. So as long as it eventually turns into silver because it's the color of the Stanley Cup, then very much
okay. Bobby, I've only been watching hockey since the 60s, and I haven't quite figured this out yet. How do you guys know when to make the line change? You play on a line, and if Randy wants to make changes in the line, how do you know when you go out, when somebody's coming off?
Ultimately, it breaks down. Obviously, you have your three forward positions. The D are separate. Ds don't know what they're doing. Ultimately, for us, it breaks down to left wing, center, right wing. You know, if in the given game I'm playing center, as I am right now with Timu and Jason Blake, for instance, our line will be identified by my last name. So Randy will say Ryan's up, and the three of us know that we're going. Ultimately, a shift isn't ever supposed to last more than 35 to 40 seconds. You know, the oldest thing in hockey is change when it's okay, not when you're tired. Don't overextend yourself. But if those guys are coming, you know, and I can identify right away that gets off the center on the line. He's my guy to come off, and you know, it follows suit with the right wingers and left wingers. You know, once you're around it and you've done it for a few years, it becomes much easier. The biggest thing is when you're going through these training camps, and I have to constantly look over my shoulder and ask Randy who the center is out there, or who the left wing is. Then it's a little tougher, but after 5-6 games, it's very much a second nature thing for us.
All right, I got time for probably a couple more. Anybody else?
This is a great pleasure to get a chance to meet you. I was curious, during the Olympics, outside of hockey, could you share an experience that you had with maybe some teammates or some other friends maybe from other teams?
Well, the coolest thing, obviously, Lucas Pisa and I are best friends, and he lives right down the street from me here, and he has all summer, and lives with me when he doesn't have a place. But for me, the coolest part that I had was getting to catch up with him. You know, when you're playing for different countries, all the countries, the only time that we're all together is opening and closing summer. As hockey players don't get to take part in that. The only time we ever actually got to sit down was at the cafeteria, and it was, you know, a matter of crossing paths, but we all reached out to each other at one point. I don't know who it was, but said, look, let's have a bit of a Ducks dinner, and I went down and we had so many guys there, and I sat with Team Zach, who, you know, obviously gets Pears, Scotty, Luca, and Jonas, and you know, you get all these, and Ryan Whitney, excuse me, so you get all these different guys coming down with their different countries on, and we got to grab a bite together, and then we caught a movie together, and it was, you know, I hated those guys, don't get me wrong. I still semi-hate Getz and Pears and Scotty for stealing our medal, but you know, that was kind of when I look back at it, that was kind of the time factor. It was that, you know, if there's all this separation in the countries, but there's kind of that unity between friends and teammates and guys that work together and work hard for each other. That was probably my best moment out there.
All right, we got time for one more over here at this side. So far, he ripped on the defense for not knowing any. He's admitted that there's a couple of his teammates he still hates. So.
How do you and other athletes and/or hockey players deal with the criticism from the media when they're, like, if you're playing bad, you obviously know you're playing bad, or like with your contract stuff when they were on you about this and that? Do you still talk to those guys afterwards during the games, or you just ignore them, or how do you handle that?
Well, I think in a media situation, you do realize that when things are going well, media is going to be good, and when things are going bad, media is going to be separated from you. And ultimately, I think you don't ever want to grow a relationship with people that are going to write. I think I had a tough summer. You know, there's no way around that. But I think for me, the way I best dealt with it, I turned everything off all summer long, and you know, I didn't read. I didn't log on the websites. I didn't go anywhere near anything that was going to be negative, because it's a tough enough situation. You know, and that's off the ice. On the ice, when things aren't going well, when you're not playing well, I think they're within their right. You know, I think they're going to write for the team. They're going to support the team while we're doing well. And you know, when you don't play up to expectations, there's no bigger critic than the guys in the locker room, the guys that you play with, and yourself ultimately. So, you know, I think that in a standpoint that I take is, if you work hard and you trust the guys around you, and you grow that trust with them mutually, it's going to work itself out, and to not let those outside distractions pull you in different directions.
Thank you.
All right, okay, so we want to do the raffle? Okay, we're going to raffle off some tickets here.